Welcome everyone to another Bible quiz that is based on the book of Genesis. Are you ready? Let's start. Who was the king of Salem and priest of God Most High? A. Abimelech. B. Abraham. C. Chedorlaomer. C. Jehoshaphat. E. Melchizedek. Okay, the answer is E. Melchizedek. And that's found in Genesis 14:18. Number 2. What would be the number of Abraham's descendants be compared? A. As the drop of waters in the ocean. B. As the birds in the skies. C. As the sand in the sea. D. As the stars in heaven. E. C. and D. And the answer is letter E. C and D. Genesis 15:5 says the stars of heaven, and Genesis 32 it's like the sand of the sea. How many years would the descendants of Abraham be afflicted in a strange land as foretold? A. 7 years. B. 40 years. C. 120 years. D. 400 years. E. 1200 years. Genesis 15:13. The answer is letter D. And they will be afflict them 400 years. Number 4. Who did Sarai give to Abraham since he had no children? A. Bilhah. B. Hagar. C. Keturah. D. Silpha. E. A and D. The answer is B. Hagar. And Genesis 16:1 and 2 says, and she had an Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. Number 5. What was Sarah's reaction to the news that she would have a son? A. She rejoiced. B. She invited all the family to celebrate. C. She laughed within herself. D. She told all her friends. E. All of the above. The answer is C. She laughed within herself. What happened to Lot's wife? A. Became barren woman. B. Became a pillar of salt. C. Smitten with leprosy. D. Smitten by snake in the wilderness. E. None of the above. What happened to Lot's wife? And the answer is B. She became pillar of salt. And you found that in Genesis 19:23 to 26, the last part. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Number 7. What did God tell Abraham to do to Isaac? A. Appoint him as his successor. B. Appoint him as a priest. C. Offer him a burnt offering. D. Train him in the way he should go. E. Circumcise him as a sign of our covenant. Okay, the answer is letter C. Offered him as a burnt offering. And found that in Genesis 22:2. Number 8. What did Abraham purchase in order to bury Sarah? A. Cave of Machpelah. B. Mount Moriah. C. Threshing floor of Arona. D. Land of Zoar. E. None of the above. The answer is A. Abraham bought the cave of Machpelah. Genesis 23:16 to 17. So the field of Ephron, which is Machpelah. Number 9. What sign did Abraham's servant ask of the Lord so that he would have known which young woman should be Isaac's wife? A. She would be beautiful. B. She would be royalty dressed. C. She would have modesty long hair. D. She would be gracious and hospitable. E. She would offer a water. She would offer to water the camels. Okay, so star is leading, and the answer is letter E. She offered water to camels. Genesis 24:14. Number 10. Why did Abraham's servant refuse to eat at first? A. Being a servant, he was used to eat last. B. He was fasting. C. He was not hungry. D. He would not eat until he told his errand. E. He would not eat until the angel told him safe to eat. Okay, the answer is letter D. Genesis 24:33. I will not eat until I have told about my errand. Number 11. What did Isaac marry? Or who did Isaac marry? A. Leah. B. Rachel. C. Rebecca. D. Ruth. E. Sarah. The answer is C. Rebecca. Genesis 24:67. Then Isaac brought her into the mother Sarah's tent, and she took Rebekah, and she became his wife. Next, what land was promised to Abraham and his descendants? A. Babylon. B. Canaan. C. Lebanon. D. Threshing floor of Arona. E. Soar. The answer is letter B. Canaan. Genesis 7 and 8. God said, all the land of Canaan was an everlasting possession. What did the Lord rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah? A. Dust and sand. B. Fire and brimstone. C. Hail and snow. D. Lice and flies. E. None of the above. Okay, star is leading, followed by encoded, and the answer is B. Fire and brimstone. Genesis 19:24. Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of heavens. Okay, for what did Esau sell his birthright? A. His herds of sheep and cattle. B. His hunting weapons. C. His country hill of Seir. D. Some stew and lentils. E. 30 pieces of silver. Okay, the answer is D. Some stew and lentil. Genesis 24:25-34. In Genesis 13, there was a strife between the herdsmen of what two people? A. Abraham and Lot. B. Canaanites and the herdsmen of Abraham. C. Canaanites and the Perizzites. D. Egyptians and Israel. E. People of Sodom and Gomorrah. The answer is A. Abraham and Lot is quarreling about the place. For how many righteous people would have the Lord spared Sodom? A. 50 righteous within the city. B. 5 less than 50 righteous. C. 30 righteous men. D. Suppose 10 should be found there. E. All of the above. How many righteous people would have the Lord spared Sodom? Okay, so the answer is all of the above. The negotiation starts with 50 until 10, and the Lord will spare Sodom. Number 17. Who was taken captives during the battle of the kings in the valley of Siddem? A. Arioch, king of Elasar. B. Aramphel, king of Shinar. C. Bera, king of Sodom. D. Berkshah, king of Gomorrah. E. Lot, nephew of Abraham. And the answer is E. Lot was captured Who blessed Abraham after rescuing Lot and others who was captured by the kings? A. Amraphel, king of Elasar. B. Arioch, king of Shinar. C. Bera, king of Sodom. D. Bersha, king of Gomorrah. E. Melchizedek, king of Salem. The answer is E. Melchizedek, king of Salem, blessed Abraham. Number 19. What did Abraham receive from the king of Sodom as price for saving and rescuing the captured people? A. Gold and silver. B. The rescued men and women. C. All the goods taken back by Abraham from the kings. D. The whole mountain east of Sodom. E. Abraham took nothing. Okay, the answer is letter E. Abraham took nothing because he's already rich. And in verse Genesis 14:21 to 23. Number 20. What did the angel told Hagar to do by the spring of water? A. Let your son drink. B. Flee to Egypt with your son. C. Flee to Egypt and I will multiply your descendant. D. Return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hand. E. Return to Ishmael and Sarah and go to Sodom. Okay, the answer is letter D. You have to return to mistress and submit yourself under her hand. What promise was given to Hagar by the angel? A. I will multiply your descendants exceedingly. B. Your son shall be a wild man. C. His hand shall be against every man. D. Every man's hand against him. E. His he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Promised to Hagar. Okay, the answer is letter A. Genesis 16:10 to 12. And the angel of the Lord said to her, I will multiply your descendants exceedingly. Next question. God made a covenant with Abraham and his descendants. What would happen to the person who broke this covenant? A. Their names will be changed. B. They will be circumcised. C. They will be barren without offspring. D. That person shall be cut off from his people. E. They will be killed by wild beasts. The answer is letter D. Anyone who broke the covenant with Abraham shall be cut off from his people. Genesis 17:14. Number 23. Whom the Lord asked, is anything too hard for the Lord? A. Abraham. B. Sarah. C. Lot. D. A and B. E. All of the above. Okay, the answer is A. God asked Abraham, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Genesis 18:13 to 14. The next question will be uh, uh, about the quarterly lesson 24 and 25. What reason that led Cain to kill his brother Abel? A. Anger. B. Jealousy. C. Self-confident fell. D. Fell injustice. E. All of the above. D is felt injustice. Okay, that's under Tuesday lesson. The answer is E. All of the above. Because of anger, jealousy, and victim of his justice. Okay, last question. What counsel did God told to Cain regarding his attitude? A. To do well. B. You should roll over it. C. I shall be hidden from your face. D. A and B. E. B and C. Okay, so the answer is letter D, B and C. And you found that on Genesis 4:7 it says, "If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desires is for you, but you should roll over it." Okay, so that's the end of our quiz. Thank you very much, and God bless. Our next quiz will cover Genesis 26 to 37. Thank you, and God bless your studies.